Welcome to Real Money Talks. Real strategies from the moneymakers and the world changers that you can use to make millions, keep those millions, multiply your wealth, and build your team. Here's your host, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View, Loral Langemeier.
Hey, this is Loral. Welcome back to Loral's Real Money Talks, a podcast that talks about money and financial literacy. Specifically, we're going to talk about how you do that with your kids today. I think a lot of you know that this book came out a year ago this month. So we hit all the bestseller lists, Make Your Kids Millionaires. And when we launched it, I was telling you about a very active educational platform, which will provide banking for kids. And then a lot of you already know about iFlip, which is the investing portal that you can actually buy software and put your money to work. So with me today, I have Scott Donnell, and he just launched a book. Like, amazing book. Wall Street, I'm actually going to read his creds. They're so phenomenal. So Wall Street Journal bestselling author, had Value Creation Kids. He has a #1 podcast on smart money parenting, which is up all of our alley and up our jam. Founder of 4 companies with over 6 million customers served. And the biggest one is he's had multiple exits. So this isn't his first rodeo, first company, just exited a company that had a lot of, it's actually all kids based and school and education based. And he's recipient of the Entrepreneurial Franchise 500 Award and many, many more things. Scott, welcome to Loral's Real Money Talks.
Thanks, Laurel. Good to be here. This is going to be a good talk.
It's going to be a great talk. Scott, talk a little bit about what got you here. I mean, where did you kind of grow up? I think a lot of people listen to successful people like you, like me, and think we just arrived here. What was your journey to getting here? Because we didn't just arrive, right?
Yeah.
I'm a farm girl from Nebraska that went into single mom, finally became a millionaire, and then, got on with it. But
yeah, the 25-year overnight success, is that us?
Yeah, that's us.
Yeah, that's a good question. So I come from 4 generations of like mega entrepreneurs that solve major problems and then actually never passed on the money. They passed on the knowledge and experience and know-how. So, my great grandpa invented the rope tow. My grandpa he started the largest small business bank in America, Interwest Bank. They sold to Wells Fargo for billions of dollars. They put the whole thing in a charitable trust, and they wanted to teach us to fish. So my whole life, I was actually raised, like our book, Value Creation Kid, the healthy struggles your children need to succeed. It's just my story. It's like the principles and ideas behind this banking app, Gravy Stack, that we're building, that you're a part of. It's this thinking of how do you create value all around you at all times, instead of likes on social media or what the popular kids are saying or the cool clubs or all these mental health, anxiety inducing forms of identity. Why don't you just focus on creating material value for others, emotional value for others, and spiritual value for others? That's the goal. And so I was raised that way. I mean, my first business was 8 years old, making bead gecko keychains. I was shredding papers at age 6 in the bank. I mean, I never got an allowance. Like, I was just raised this way, like find problems, fill needs, and just be hunting around you like a detective. And so I've thought this way my whole life. My cousins are this way. Like, this is the way to go. And now we've helped millions of kids learn this way of thinking as well.
So talk about Gravy Stack. So, there's Greenlight that everyone thinks is taking the world by storm. I'm going to put up another one. Who we consistently beat, Robinhood, we consistently beat over at iFlip.
Yeah.
So, I said the difference between them and us right now is they have bigger marketing budgets, but you wait till we really when we hit the ground running, what we're going to do and how we're going to help these kids understand missions and gigs. So we'll get to all that, but talk about the kind of your passion. I mean, you're the one that founded the idea, and then through, again, a lot of our networks, through our Big Table networks, is how I got to you.
Yeah. So Gravy Stack is the world's first banking and investing app for kids that plays like a game. This is the critical difference between what we're doing and what folks like Greenlight are doing. Greenlight's basically like a Chase account for kids. Kids don't even log in really unless they want to see how much money they have to spend on their debit card. But that's not actually how kids learn financial competency. You can only learn financial competency through real life activities and experiences and having fun and actually having an intrinsic motivation to go learn these things. That's why this is such a critical piece, We love Greenlight. We got 100 friends using Greenlight for their teenagers and their kids, but really those kids never log in. It's basically the new form of paying an allowance. Instead of putting it in a piggy bank, you just put it in your Greenlight card. That's great. And we have everything they have. But the real difference is kids need to have a motivation to go in and learn these core skills of save and spend and share and how to earn money. That's a critical piece. Earning in the home, earning in the community, flipping things at garage sales and in the home, like ways to create value, investing. They need to understand borrowing, the issues of borrowing, the opportunities of it. They have to learn how to create value. They have to understand online security. That's a huge component of financial competency for us. And the skills and traits of delayed gratification and personal responsibility and grit, right? And those are the things that are not taught in a regular bank account like Greenlight. You have to make it into a game, make it fun for kids to learn and apply it to the real world. So that's what Gravy Stack is. It's 100 games inside of this banking app where the kids enter this entire animated world called Windfall. And there's all these characters and guardians and citizens, and you're trying to free the people from the greedy tyrant weasel Greedymon and his henchmen. And so what they do is they're doing all these fun games that teach them practical skills of financial competency with a real bank, right? We've completely reinvented the banking. So animated flow of money. Our money machine automatically splits what they make into the save and spend and share accounts and the investing, right? With like iFlip. Yeah. It shows them that flow. And then we've built this entire home economy system in the app. It's probably my favorite part. We have the 3 E's, which I can get into in a minute. But the point here is you want to teach kids to create value at home. And so we have them covering their own expenses starting at age 6. Certain expenses they start to cover. And that frees parents up to give them money to cover extra pay for them to earn things around the house and start to create that value. If you just give an allowance, that's basically socialism. You're just giving them money for free, or even if they do chores, like half those chores should be done for free anyway. Those are expected things. And so we're solving this problem of an easy integrated way for parents to pay their kids and teach them how the real world works at home.
And so let's break that down a little bit. So the money flow, I think, is the most critical because that's what's missing in any other, call it banking app or situation. So when they make money, kind of break down an example of somebody that just went out and organized making, say, $50 to $100.
Yeah.
And then they make the decision to actually have the money flow into the different, I'd say, what would you call them?
The pipe. We have jars and revenue pipes. Yeah.
Well, the revenue pipes.
So our app has about 30 patents on it right now. And one of the biggest ones is the money machine. And so instead of monthly statements that nobody really ever looks at, that's the problem. They're boring. No one wants to look at them. Why would you want to look at all the things you spent your money away from? So we created this animated flow of money. So this pipe launches bubbles onto the screen of where you make all your money. And then it either goes into your home economy gigs, your community gigs, or your extra pay gigs. That's like W-2 or investment interest, other things. And you see where that bubble pops and it turns into coins for the kids and flows through the pipe to their main account. And then it automatically transfers those coins and you see the coins split between the 3 jars into pipes. So then you have maybe it's 20 or 30% to saving, 10% to share, which goes to every nonprofit in the US right now. And then the spend account, which is their debit card that they can spend on. So most kids think I made $10, I can spend $10. That's not the point. What we're trying to teach them is this discipline of, no, you invest in your future. You save and invest in the future. You set aside some for sharing, and then you can spend this portion on wants and needs. Right. And so you have to see that. And it's the only way that kids can connect physical cash to the digital world. Right. Because we no longer feel this effect of going and giving a $10 bill to the movie theater. It's all with a swipe of a plastic card. And so kids have to feel that and see that. And whenever they spend money, their spend jar spits out another bubble of red numbers that comes out and the money goes down. So they actually see that flow in and out.
And let's dig a little bit into the charity. So you said they can go to any charity. So the kids get to decide and really explore the different links, and they really get to hook it up so the money goes from their account directly to the charity that they're choosing.
Yeah, they get the tax deduction and everything. Go straight to mom and dad. We actually have 10, there's 100 games in the world of Gravy Stack. 10 of them is in the share level with the share bowl as their guardian, teaching them all these games around generosity and giving and what's their giving type. What are the types of things they care about helping in the world? What are the biggest needs they want to try to solve? We talk about time, talents, and treasure, all the things they can give, not just money. And then when it comes, we call it share instead of give, because share is the first thing that kids can psychologically connect to. I'm sharing a toy. I'm sharing something, a meal, and sharing food. When you think of giving to like a third world country, that's not the first thing a kid thinks about. So you have to almost use these concentric circles of getting them to think broader and broader. And so the whole app is like this. It's just simple steps along the line of learning the core principles of financial competence. So yeah, they choose a charity or multiple charities. They hit their goal, confetti everywhere. The money goes directly to those charities. The bubble pops out of where they went. They get to, be in teams of other kids that are doing certain different types of charity in there. I mean, it's wild and fun. And that's what gets kids motivated. It has to be fun. Look, kids learn in two ways: having fun and real life experience. Mm-hmm. If you just do homework, it's in one ear and out the other, because the kids aren't connecting it to anything in their real life. So it has to be super fun, which motivates them internally, and then real life practical. That's what Gravy Stack is all about.
So let's use one of the games. Like the one I love that I think is really fun and needs to be done frequently is the cook a meal.
Yeah. So one of my favorite games is they actually buy groceries first. So we have the coupon hunt as one of our games in level 1. So we teach them 4 ways to find coupon discounts, right? The Val packs, the mailers, the in stores, the memberships, the free memberships, and then asking the tellers and like the registrars to give you what's off, right? And so the average family in that mission so far in our app has saved 26% on their grocery bill, and the kids did everything, right? Well, then we have multiple games. We have an eat in versus eat out challenge, where the kids take their last meal they went and ate out at somewhere at a restaurant, and then they make that meal at home and calculate the savings they got from eating in versus eating out. So you're teaching them budgeting, you're teaching them like the cost of going out versus eating in. And then the one you mentioned I really love is it's the $10 dinner challenge. Yeah. So the kids get $10 per family member to make dinner, and you can make it more or less depending on where you're at, but usually it's $10, and the kid gets to profit whatever they don't spend on that budget. But they have to get the food, they have to cook the food, and they have to get a 4 out of 5 star rating from the rest of the family in order to pass the mission. If they don't get that, you can't just give them top ramen for $1 and pocket $9 and expect to pass. You have to get good customer service with it. And that one mission teaches like 10 things. People don't even think about how valuable that is for a kid to do. And we have tons of those. I mean, there's family budgeting challenges for your next trip, tax hunt challenges, things on real estate and insurance and investing. They're literally playing investing games, and then they're going to find stocks to invest in that they use every day in their home, like real stocks with real money in their bank. So this is the only way to teach about money. And you've been talking about this for decades. Like, yep. Make it practical. Bring it in the home. You can't expect the school system to do this. Schools don't know how to teach this. You can't homework your way to money. It doesn't work.
Yep. Well, and not only that, the teachers aren't trained in any of this. So, when we launched this, which by the way, in the makeyourkidsmillionaires.com, when you get the book from that site, the never pay your kids an allowance is a whole task process that I started with my kids when they were 4. Yep. So I know we're going to give them a little bit of, transitional time on allowance, but none of us really that are, I'd say, investors and, in part of the founding team believe in paying an allowance. And again, you call the socialists, I say, it's just like giving them money for nothing. Like there's no defined tasks. There's no defined, like the thing I like the most about where I take them is they have to negotiate for what each task is worth. So just like any other entrepreneur, what is somebody already in that category? If they're going to say edit videos, right? Which, my kids have both done that. They have tutored, they've done babysitting, you add nanny, it's a different price. So they have to negotiate for all the things that they're going to be earning and really designing their paycheck. So I love that this is now a technical way to take all of my paper away and, book way to just send all of our clients over to get this and get them started on the missions and the gigs and playing the games.
We made it really integral to the family. So this whole home economy system in the app, and you can use a whiteboard, you can, print out your own stuff. That's the reason why it's hard for families. They usually just press the easy button and give them an allowance, right? And if you give kids money that they didn't earn, they will not spend it like they earned it. They'll just waste it. It doesn't teach them any financial competency. So what we created was the home economy 3 E's: expectations, expenses, extra pay. And it's literally a printout that we give you every week that goes on the fridge right there for the family to see. So the first thing you say is, okay, expectations. We are not paying you for these things: making your bed, brushing your teeth, doing well in school,
right.
Those are the things that's your rent, kid. Like that's your part of being in our family.
I always say it's because you live here.
That's right. It's because you live here. This is your role in the family. Then you have your expenses. We have 12 categories that parents can start to pass off as early as 6 to 8 years old. And then by the time you get your driver's license, that whole list should be for the kids to pay for on their own. That's hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month that now parents have freed up to give extra pay. And that's the gigs that you and I are talking about. So we have 55 action gigs that they can do around the house: sweeping, window washing, making the meal, cleaning a bathroom, organizing a closet, stuff in the yard, all over the place. And then we have 55 brain gigs that kids can do, because we want kids to learn that you can use your brain to make money. Most people in the future are going to be using their brains to make more money than their hands and feet. And so, you can send them action. These are on top of school. So whether it's a TED Talk or a book or an article or a challenge, I want you to write down 10 I am statements every day for 2 weeks. That's your challenge for this gig, right? These are fun ways for kids to actually earn money by doing educational challenges. So all that is automated right there in the app. It resets daily, weekly, monthly. The system is going once you set it up one time. And that's how we make it easy enough to match the allowance issue, because allowance actually goes the other way. Allowance is linked to a lack of motivation and an aversion to work from Jumpstart Coalition's study. So we have got to stop doing that. That's the easy button that actually moves your kids away from financial competency. So there you go. That's the home economy system.
Love it. So now let's talk about the teams. You've mentioned that the kids will all be able to, I'd say get on teams and really support and compete against other teams. So talk a little bit about how that's going to work.
Yeah. So again, this is the biggest difference between us and all the banks, because I just put Greenlight and all these other ones in. They're just banks, right? They're debit cards for kids.
Yep.
And they do have some saving and investing and stuff. But what you really need is kids to be individually inspired and motivated and driven to create, right? To go through the games, to go through the learning, to learn these skills. And so with the app, there's leaderboards for all these missions. The kids are competing with their friends. They're earning grits in the game, and they're up-leveling their avatar, and they're adding to their resume for college or career. And so it's just they're literally sending tipping grits to their friends to congratulate them for beating levels and upgrading. And so it's just a really fun way for kids to bring in their friends and all learn together. That's what makes things fun, right? You need to have that fun, or else, we did a study for 1,000 parents and kids. And the biggest thing we realized was that parents had no roadmap. And so they were like, we don't know what to teach them. Even if we have a bunch of money and success, I don't know what to say, in what order, and even if they'll listen. Well, the kids were the most interesting part. The kids said, we don't want to talk about money. Predominantly, 95% of them. You got those 5% of kids that just have the gene. They've got the entrepreneurial gene. Everything they think of is how can I make money off of this? Most kids don't want to talk about it because it was the biggest fight in the home. Parents fight about sex and money, but sex isn't talked about publicly. That's behind closed doors. Money is all over the place. We can't afford this. Money doesn't grow on trees. You know how much I spent for that? You can't do that. This is really hard to make money. There's no way you can do it. Did you forget to pay that bill again? Right? they hear this over and over and they're like, forget it. I don't want to cause any issues or conflict. So they have this negative view of money. And so they would rather wait until they're out of the house on their own to start dealing with money. Right.
And having to figure it out.
That's the issue. So we want to bring these conversations in the home. We want to have them talk about this stuff in the home and work through it. And so now, whether parents know it or not, they can play along with their kids, have fun with your kids. They don't know if you know these lessons or not. You can learn along with them. Who cares? It's a ton of fun. That's the point, is like, we have to bring it in the home. You can't outsource this to anybody else.
Yep. Well, and again, I think it also goes to your family values, family communication. When I was part of the Rich Dad Poor Dad team, I was a master distributor of the game. I have a game right up there, the Millionaire Maker. So make this fun, put it in the home, and just start the conversation based on the activity. And I think that's, that. And then again, we're going to be adding Gravy Stack and iFlip and a whole new campaign. And I'd say not a relaunch of the book, but we're going to be additive to it, because everyone who has one of these should have a Gravy Stack and iFlip app for their kids. Before I let you go, talk a little bit about the parents part of this, because it is banking. They're not 18. How does the parents, they kind of do at some level have to participate legally?
Yeah, well, the parents just set it up and let the kids run, right? We need to have the parents in on these conversations anyway. That's the whole point, is to build good relationships and free families of this bribery and coercion and conflict and the bank of mom and dad rolling on until the kid's 30, 40 years old. We're trying to stop that problem. So yeah, the parents have to have some involvement, but the games are predominantly played by the kids, and parents can play against them, but the games are going to be free you can literally download the app and play the games as a kid, right? And it's ages 6 to 18, and now all the way through college, kids are playing. But then the parents sign up and they have to do the KYC information, right? Legally, you have to set up the bank account as the parent. And so once you want to start playing, like doing the whole banking and get all the accounts and the investing and the money machine, all 100 games, it's like 23 cents a day. That's it. So it's an investment of 23 cents a day in your kid's future. And we have a parent community in the app as well, where we do workshops and expert advice and giving tools to parents to raise smart money kids. And so, yeah, that's really what it is. 23 cents a day, you get it set up. Parents create the gigs home economy one time, and then it just auto resets and they're off and running. So there is minimal parent involvement here, but it's way easier than trying to put it all on a whiteboard or print it out or figure out allowance and fight over chores. It's just way better. And my favorite part of the app is about 2 weeks in, kids stop asking parents for money, period. And that is a beautiful freedom for parents who are busy and stressed and have a ton of work going on. And then they feel guilty. When your kids are like, have to do something, you feel guilty giving them the money because you didn't train them. And then you feel guilty giving them the money because you shouldn't be. And then it's like they just keep asking all the time for all these social events and trips and birthday presents for friends and all that kind of stuff. We have in the app the automated way for the kids to fund their own independence. So that's the real benefit. Yep.
And something that's been needed for a very long time. So in the show notes, we will have a link so you can go get your app, and you'll be also then directed through there in a process to get your iFlip app, which you can get the investing app as well for the kids. And Scott, what would your kind of last words of, obviously go get the app and jump in.
GravyStack.com/Loral. Get them in there. That's where we'll send everybody. Okay. Check the show notes as well for links. Grab a copy of Value Creation Kid. This is a really powerful tool. It's all the ideas and philosophies behind the app. The app is basically the tool to implement the book. And then if you guys like podcasts, go over to Smart Money Parenting. We're doing really well on there, and we're going to have you on a bunch here pretty quick. Yeah. And then I'm Scott Donnell at social. If you guys want to follow me, and we'll give content every day for people.
Absolutely. Scott, it's been great to have you and all of you that are out there. Actually, I have one more thing, because I am very international in my podcast as we expanded it. Outside of the US, what's going to happen to the international folks? How can they lean in, be part of this, and learn something? So I want to give them an action too. I just remembered we got a whole bunch of those people.
Yeah. So the games immediately will go out to many countries. And then the banking, as we bring on partners in all these different countries, We'll be launching Canada, Mexico, UK, Australia. We're going to be getting worldwide here in the next year. So start playing the games, immediate benefit there. And then once we're live in your country, we send you updates and you're ready to go.
Perfect. All right, Scott, thank you. And appreciate being on today. We'll be back. And I think more of you will be hearing more about Gravy Stack, putting it in your home. If you have any questions at all, ever during my podcast or just questions, go to askloral.com, AskLoral, askloral.com. You can ask a question, make a request, and we are there 24/7 answering your money questions. We'll be back next Friday. Talk to you then.
Thanks for listening to the Real Money Talks podcast. Your host has been Loral Langemeier, author of 5 New York Times bestsellers, money expert on Dr. Phil, CNN, CNBC, The Street TV, Fox News, and The View. Want to learn more about off-Wall Street investing, tax strategies, and multi-million-dollar business strategies? Visit liveoutloud.com/podcast for past episodes, show notes, and resources. For some special wealth-building gifts only for Loral's podcast listeners, visit liveoutloud.com/podcast gifts. Do you have a burning question for Loral? Visit askloral.com to submit your question, and it may just be covered on a podcast episode. So stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to get new episodes every week.